I would like to ask Barbora Geršlová from IKEA to present her views on sustainable value chains and its perspective. Thank you very much.
So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the introduction. I'll introduce myself as well. My name is Barbora Geršlová and I'm the country sustainability manager for IKEA Czech Republic, Hungary and Slovakia. And today, even though sometimes the circumstances might certainly not be the best to speak about sustainability, I think it's still important that we still keep going and we still give some ideas and we share some experiences with regards to this topic because the taking care about our planet but also our people is now more important than ever. So today I've prepared for you a presentation that is called Sustainable Value Chain, and I would like to introduce you how we measure the impact of our value chain and how we also work with our value chain, mainly with our supply chain. I'll go a bit more into detail of our climate footprint, and then I'll introduce you and explain you how we work with our suppliers through our code of conduct. And then at the end, I would like to share with you some tips how to govern sustainability within your company. At the beginning, I would like to read an ethos of our CFO, Juvencio, who says that a fairer, more sustainable world is what our customers and colleagues want, what our planet needs, and what next generations deserve. It's therefore what our company must help deliver. And I would say that it's whatever company should deliver, because if anyone would like to do also a sustainable business, speaking about the growth and the economic side, we need to deliver these things in order to secure that future generations will be able to continue the way and the comfort that we are living as of now. So let's have a look into our value chain. Firstly, I would like to explain how we measure our footprint, and the measurement looks like this. I think it's good to illustrate what areas we are focusing on. We are distributing our value chain between the supply chain, as you can see in the left side. I'll try to use the highlighter. Then also another part is meeting the customer. That is not that crucial. You can see only 11% of the contribution. Then surprisingly, maybe quite big, customer use of our products at home, more than 27%, more than 23%, and then other emissions. When we look more into the detail, the supply chain constitutes of extracting the materials, of getting the food ingredients, of course, of the production and manufacturing as such. Also, it constitutes from the product transportation from our manufacturers and distribution centers to our retail, and that's where our playground starts. It's what I'm responsible for. It's retail IKEA, and then also other entities are responsible for Inca centers. And then to this part, we also have to count with the customer travel and home deliveries, meaning that our products are meeting the customer at their homes, but also the customers travel to IKEA to meet our products. And then we go to the customer use of our products, which is divided between the product use at home as such, which comes from the energy that our products are consuming at the households of our customers. And then the second part is the product end of life cycle. And then, of course, the other emissions. So now let's dig deeper into the different topics. Firstly, I would like to touch the area of materials because it's so significant. It contributes by almost 51%, which is huge. We've even experienced an increase year on year. You can see this red plus 12%. It's not mainly because that we would change some procedures, but mainly because due to COVID, FI20 was heavily impacted and the production shrinked. So that's the reason. On the other hand, we managed to do some innovations in the part. Maybe I'll start with some fun fact or interesting fact, because IKEA is heavily associated with wood, which is of course true. Most of our products is made from wood, and also wood creates or participates 61% of our material volume, but at the same time it represents only 22% of the climate change, of the climate footprint, So that's a really nice ratio, and it can show the effectiveness and the good properties of wood as such. On the other hand, we are dealing with steel that is not that efficient. Steel is used only by 10% in the total volume, but on the other hand, it represents almost 1/3 of the overall climate footprint coming from our materials. So that's something that we have to look into. Looking at the assessments of individual material groups is very important for us, because then we can really understand where we can do the biggest impact and what we should change. Some concrete actions that we are using is going for recycled materials. It's honestly very effective. I can share an example of transforming our polyester. Last year, we managed to replace 88% of the polyester by recycled polyester, and it resulted in 45 decrease of climate footprint coming from polyester, so it's really good. We are also trying to go for the closed loop, meaning that we would like to use our own waste in the production. We are not doing it on the level of the Czech Republic, Hungary and Slovakia so far, but we are already doing it in different markets, and it's working great. We can use some cardboard or maybe plastic stretch foley and reuse it for the production of textiles, for example, of some other products. Then very important for us is regenerative agriculture. It's connected to the biological circular flow, because we also aim to reach the climate positivity by 2030, and it means that we'll reduce more of the emissions that our value chain emits. And this reduction will be also achieved through more effective agriculture and ecosystems of our forestry, for example. And regenerative agriculture is key to achieve that. It's heavily associated with the certification as well, because not only we can certify our cotton, that is certified by 100% by Better Cotton Initiative, but also we work with FSC certification. In that way, we secure that our forests are handled in a good way, and that we don't disturb the ecosystems and the self-sufficiency and the self-renewal of our forestry. And then what I need to mention as well is research and development, because some of the materials that we would like to replace, they just don't exist yet. So we really also have to focus on how to work with that. Part of this is our innovation department. I can share with you an example from the Netherlands, where we invested into a startup that's trying to figure out how to recycle mattresses, and they are quite successful. So that's also an important part about reducing climate footprint of the materials. Then we can also briefly mention the food ingredients. It's not that significant. You can even say that you can even see that we achieved quite a good decrease year on year, again almost 1/3. That's heavily attributed to the fact that we introduced so many plant-based products. It works really good for us, because 67% of this climate footprint comes from beef cattle, and replacing our amazing meatballs with plant balls has really delivered its results, because the plant-based diet and the plant-based products, specifically the plant balls, they have only 4% climate footprint. They use only 7% of the land that has to be used, and they need only 12% of the water in comparison to the beef meatball. So that's some part of ensuring that we are going to be more effective in this area. Then we will move to the production, and I'll be speaking about it in more detail later on, speaking about the IWay, the code of conduct that is mentioned at the beginning. It's very important that we send our message and also our know-how with our suppliers. So not only we have a set of requirements that are also taking care of the climate footprint and planet as such, but we also do regular audits. We try to localize our production, and we also try to invest into the renewable energy sources, because from the perspective of the client, of our suppliers, it's important to also provide them the solution and provide them with the clean electricity, because then it drives the footprint dramatically lower. Now I'm moving to the last part of the supply chain, value chain, and it's the product transport, literally moving the products from the centers and from the manufacturers to our retail, where then we take charge of the climate footprint. We are now exploring how to develop and how to implement zero emission trucks, and also of course how to support the creative renewable energy sources to really decrease the footprint also from these scopes. But what we are working with now is the smart stock prediction. It's something that works really well. We work with the prediction of the demand at separate markets, and based on that, we allocate the stock so we can avoid some useless transfer of the goods. And something actually innovative, but at the same time for us not that much, because we've been using it for more than 50 years. It's flat packaging. Most of the products at IKEA are designed with flat packaging in mind. It's very important for us, and it is immensely effective, because with the flat packaging you can of course decrease the amount of trucks that are coming to the warehouse and back, because you simply fit more products to the container. Okay, now I'll move to the retail part, which is what I'm responsible for. Again, the climate footprint of our retail operations is not that big. It's 2.6% contribution from the overall footprint. Again, we've experienced some decrease year on year, even given our expansion. The operations, the sustainable operations can be achieved mainly through renewable energy and energy efficiency. So we are investing now heavily into the metering systems and into smart system that can predict the development of the weather, and also where to allocate and distribute the right amount of heat or cooling. Then, of course, very important, renewable energy and electricity as such. We are trying to invest into renewable energy generation on site, which can be heat pumps or photovoltaics. Our latest project is Brno, where we introduced and installed more than 500 megawatt peak photovoltaics on the roof actually a few months ago. Currently we are running on 100% certified clean electricity, so that's something that's quite achievement as well, because it again put our climate footprint quite dramatically down. And then our scope 1 and scope 2 emissions from operations of retail and IKEA centers is also coming from waste. And we really want to achieve 100% recycling rate. Right now we are at 86%. Some of 11 to 16 goes to the incineration, mainly with energy recuperation. And among stores, we are a bit variable between 0.2 and 1.2% of the landfill waste. And even though it might seem as a small portion in the volume of our waste, it's a big issue, because decreasing this less than 1% to zero is almost impossible with our current infrastructure that we are also having in the country. So that's something that we have to tackle as well. And now, again, the transport, of course, we want to do our homework first. So until 2025, we are fully committed to deliver our goods by zero emission options. We also want to, with this regards, lobby and try to push for renewable energy sources of electricity. And of course, we also want to motivate our customers and co-workers to commute to IKEA by cleaner means of transport or simply by bike. So that's all the initiatives that we are doing. As I said, we are fully committed to the goal, but the achievement will also heavily depend on the infrastructure in the regions. And then I'll move to the product use at home. I think that it was quite surprising even for me that 16% contribution to the overall climate footprint is quite high. We've experienced some significant reduction last year. It's actually something above 30%, as you can see. I'll highlight it again. It's here. Most effective ways how to decrease this climate footprint contribution is by sales steering. So we always try to steer the sales towards products that are energy efficient and help also to decrease somehow the waste that you are creating at your home. And as an add-on, we also want to in the future enable renewable electricity consumption in the households of our customers, done through IKEA or through our solutions such as the photovoltaics on the roofs of a tenant house, for example. That's something that's been also working already in a few markets worldwide, but not so far in our region. And then I would also like to mention the product end of life cycle. It might be quite surprising, but again, 6.5% it's the climate footprint associated to the fact that people landfill and throw away our products. And that's something that we should be responsible for as well, even though it's totally scope free. We are trying to enlarge and we put heavy focus on circular services. One example I could share with you is, for example, Second Life of Furniture, which is the service where you as a customer of IKEA can promote and upload your pre-loved furniture that you no longer want or need, and we'll buy it back in exchange for a gift card, and then we will sell this product to another customer as a second hand in the circular hub that can be found in every of each stores of IKEA. And of course also, again, the sales steering towards products that contain recycled or renewable materials is quite crucial. And then apart from the climate footprint, I would like to mention community impact, because again, it's more important than ever to realize that sustainability is not only about the environment but also about the people, and it's so important that we secure that the homes our customers are living at are also safe and inclusive. So we have a lot of activities to support these. We support vulnerable groups not only internally but also externally. We are trying to have a positive footprint on IKEA neighborhood, so we always try to tackle the local issues and support inclusivity and diversity, very relevant to the area where our units are located. And also, it will be my bridge to the second topic. We want to have a positive impact on the whole value chain, and we want to take care of our suppliers. And it's the moment when I would like to introduce you our code of conduct. It's called IWay 6.2. Maybe the figure can give you the idea that 6.2 is already the second version of the 6th version of the IWay. We continuously work on its improvements. It's crucial for us to really understand what are the needs of the market and where we can focus, what are the key areas for focus. And now I'll explain you what the IWay 6.2 is about. Actually, first of all, it's about open dialogue. It's really important for us that the IWay principles are supportive by routines, but also really by discussions with the suppliers, so we can better understand their needs and also their challenges. Secondly, it's very key, and I think that it's for most businesses that their business needs to be conducted lawfully and of course with integrity. Third requirement or topic is the children, and not only that the children of course are not allowed to work and cannot be working there in our suppliers, but also we want to provide these children with stable family lives and the opportunities for learning. So it's a bit more holistic and complex approach, not only like ban children's work, but also really provide also their parents to be at home on time and to create a safe environment of the family. Then of course all fundamental labor rights have to be respected, it's a must. And also workers are supposed to have time off work, they have to be paid responsibly, and they have to have opportunities to grow within the company and also develop competence. Going to the second half of the requirements or of the topics, of course again health and safety has to be protected no matter the cost. It's very important and it's crucial. Working and living conditions have to be suitable. Again, sometimes we go even a bit beyond the national requirements, but we also want to secure that the people are also paid in the real standard, not only that is provided or required by the legal framework, but also what the country really requires. Also, the planet has to be protected. For us, this is very important, so we try to educate our suppliers, what it is all about. And then, of course, all the resources, including water and waste, are managed in a sustainable and circular way. Honestly, this is something that we are still learning on our own as well. But we, again, want to continue to have this open dialogue and really learn and also teach our suppliers what it is about and how we can all cooperate together also with the retail, for example, as I was speaking about the closed loop of materials. And then the 10th edition, and it's the animals. We really want that our animals also live decent lives, and we have introduced a whole guidelines of how to work with the animals' welfare. So it's also very important for us not to really, not to avoid anyone and anything within the supply chain. And now I would like to give you a bit more context about how we work with this code of conduct, because this is like the principles, but then we have a whole list of requirements. And you can even achieve like being advanced and excellent supplier, which is really great. But I would like to give you some background about how we start working with these suppliers, because we have some must requirements that, you know, it's really nothing can be broken there. It just have to be followed. But then we have the basic ones that are a bit broader, and we want to provide our suppliers with a year since the delivery of the first product or service to implement these requirements, because we believe that if we can, you know, that this is our requirements, and if you want to work with us, you have to follow it. As of now, if you don't follow it it's not the process, we wouldn't achieve any impact. But giving the suppliers the room and the flexibility, and also the possibility to educate them and explain them how to reach these requirements, it actually makes us the positive effect on the suppliers, because we can really teach them how to reach it, and they have sufficient time to really implement the new ways of working and overcome the challenges that they are having. So I wanted to highlight it because it's really about the discussion and about the partnership. And for the end, I've prepared some tips on how to implement sustainability within an organization. I want to highlight that this is really like a rule of thumb, so something that's been created based on the best practical knowledge, but I think it can be useful for some of you. So first of all, I would like to highlight that the right governance is very important. It should be clear what your CEO is supposed to do and what the CSR manager is supposed to do, or like marketing communication. What are the competences and the boundaries of each position. Also, you need to educate your employees and tenants and also the suppliers. It's a very important part, because even though it's important when, for example, the sustainability is, you know, rolled out from the top to the bottom, it's always better when your co-workers and your suppliers and your tenants also push you to be stricter and to be more sustainable. So the education is key, so you can also broaden their experiences and also open their minds what the company can do for sustainability. And also it's essential to collaborate cross-functionally, because sustainability can be anywhere. As you could see it in the presentation, the value chain is so broad and it can be literally found anywhere. So we need to collaborate very much with other departments. Then my favorite one, my personal favorite one, it's do data-driven decisions. I couldn't emphasize this more. If we don't have the data about what's the status quo, but also what our actions will deliver, we can't do the right decision, never ever, because I think that's very favorite at the same time example is the plastics, you know, because plastics are so efficient at some point in terms of the production and also the recyclation in many countries, but at the same time it's being hated, and sometimes it's being replaced, you know, with these biodegradable plastics that are not actually degradable at all. But it's all part of some sentiment that's not supported by data, and it's crucial that we really use data to do the right decisions in sustainability. And then last, but definitely not least, it's really having a clear strategy and follow the KPIs, which needs to be, of course, done after the data collection. But it's also very important to set the right goals, even though maybe too ambitious. But even when you set too ambitious goals and then you reach 80%, it will be still better than you are not ambitious enough, and then you won't even reach the not ambitious goal. Good, so it was very brief and very fast, but I hope that it gave you some introduction of how we work and what can be the impact on the value chain, and also what are the tools that can really decrease the climate footprint and the impact, the negative impact on the environment of the value chain. I would like to thank you very much, tack in Swedish. You can find my email address in here. And if you have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out to me on my email address. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Barbora, for your presentation. I would like to ask you, because in the beginning I have mentioned Ukrainian war, which is another major hit for global economy next to pandemic, of course. So how do you think will the Ukrainian war affect efforts to even improve sustainability in your value chains? because, for example, prices of materials, of prices of energies will go up dramatically, not just because of pandemic, but now because of the war. So how it will affect your business and your sustainability and your value chains?
Yes, thank you for the question. It's a very hard one. Well, I can say, that the commitment, based on the sentiment that I'm having within our own organization, but also when speaking to colleagues from different countries, the sentiment didn't change. We still want to go fully in for sustainability, and we are still fully committed to our climate goals as well. But I think that definitely, the circumstances and the unprecedented event of a war that I think many of us didn't even expect to experience in our lifetime, it moved us all. And I think that it even amplified the effect and the importance of social part of the sustainability and of the fact that we really need to take care of the people as well. And also I think that the situation with the refugees coming from Ukraine, many people were not very able to imagine what, for example, climate refugees might look like. And I think this can increase the sentiment that this is really a reality, and in the time of crisis we need all to be united and we need to provide help. So that's also our focus number one right now. We are trying to put all our energy and efforts to helping the Ukrainians coming to our land and coming to our borders, of course. And this is where we want to now be fully in and really put it as a priority number one. And then, of course, I believe we will also try to evaluate what the economic impact of the war will bring to our value chain. We closed our operations in Ukraine, Russia, and Belarus. So again, people first. So the security and also the financial security and the safety as such are top priority, and it will be still priority for some time being. But then, of course, we'll have to evaluate what it will mean for the business. But for example, with regards to regions, to the Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary as well, I believe that maybe even like the sanctions and the increasing prices of energies, but also the coming inflation and increasing inflation, it will maybe create a sentiment, and I hope in the society, and more room for some lobbying also for self-sufficiency, which could lead to more emphasizing renewable energy sources. So that's our ambition as well, because we are ready to decrease our climate footprint and within our operations and go, for example, fully in for the electromobility, but we need to be ready to do it with clean electricity and with clean energies in our grids. So we really see it hard to evaluate it right now, but I'm optimistic that it might bring some of the unification, because now we really realize what things are important, and we can really also see that when we stand together, then we can achieve some good results. So hopefully it will be the case. And thank you again for your attention.
Thank you very much, Barbora.